It's been 2 months since the official declaration that COTI v2 would become a permissionless, privacy-focused EVM Layer 2. As the team brings new updates week after week, the roadmap and vision is starting to come into focus. Despite early organic interest from legitimate cryptocurrency news agencies, social media influencers have started to join the party, prompting some serious trading volume. But as always with this positive price action, comes rumor and occasional FUD. As we do enjoy to speculate on the technology, timelines, and price, we limit the amount of time that we delegate to unconfirmed rumor and political discussion. In the past 18 months on various COTI-themed podcasts, we have been critical of certain developments and decisions made by the team. This is not a one-sided discussion. As we remain focused on the positive outlook of the current roadmap, our goal is to educate users, new and veteran alike, to make their own informed decisions. Join us tonight as we summarize COTI v2's news, developments, and give the best explanation of COTI's privacy layer and use case yet. This is episode 8 of the Who is COTI podcast. Let's spin it up.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the show. This is episode 8 of the Who is COTI podcast. My co-hosts, as always, COTI Unity Node and COTI Ship, who are both Discord ambassadors and currently running in the testnet. And tonight we have a special guest. You may know him as one of the biggest hecklers on Telegram, Paul Oracle. Guys, welcome here. How are you all feeling tonight?
I swear this happens every time. I'll jump in. Good. we are. It's nice to join a podcast after like blistering price action. Like it's super positive. So yeah, gas to be here.
Yeah. Well, you guys know who Unity and Ship is, but some of you may not know Paul. So as we always welcome our guests to the show, I got to ask you, Paul, who is Paul?
Thanks, Tracer. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
You're good.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, my name's Paul. I've been a loyal COTI holder since late 2020. Started to get more into the community via Telegram early 21, and I've been here ever since. I've got my own Telegram group at COTI Discussion. It's sort of a no holds barred sort of discussion. But yeah, that's basically my COTI story. I got into it through a friend who was into Cardano, told me to have a look at COTI. I had a look at it. It seemed not up and up, and I've been here ever since.
Right on, man. Well, welcome to the show. So I guess the most obvious thing to talk about right now is the positive price action that we've seen across markets. Bitcoin right now is pumping. I think we're at about 51,560, right? So that's pretty impressive. But COTI Unity, I'll ask you. We were just talking about the COTI chart. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting, and I'm really curious if we will get the podcast pump that we had quite some times before. So right now, chart is really looking like COTI is knocking on that 9-cent resistance. Yeah, it seems like it's forming a symmetrical triangle, ready to break out to the upside. So we'll see. And yeah, price action was crazy. So we basically did a 100% within a few days and have had some consolidation now, waiting for the next steps.
Yeah, absolutely. Ship, what do you think about what's been going on lately, just on the wider ecosystem in general? Is he doing like it's just every time he does this, he ghosts me on my first time I go to him. Are you there or what?
I'm here. What do you mean the wider ecosystem? Sorry.
Bitcoin in general, across crypto.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin threw me. I think a few people expected it to touch 50 and then kind of retrace a healthy retracement. I think there's a few people looking at it. There's kind of I think there's a bearish divergence with kind of overbought RSI, which is one of my favorite indicators. What even, for me, I was expecting a quick kind of short-term downtrend, but this thing just keeps going. And it's surreal, right? Because I mean, this time a couple of years ago, this was right near the all-time high. Everyone was euphoric, and now it still feels quiet. Like it still feels like you could hear a pin drop. Quite a few different cryptos, including COTI, that are starting to pick up, but the sentiment is just so different to this time a few years ago.
I got to ask you, Paul, what do you think? What are you seeing?
The markets are crazy right now. I mean, Bitcoin doesn't seem like it's going to stop, which bodes well for the rest of the markets. It's good to see where COTI starting to catch up. It's probably just the start of things to come for the market in general. And inflation data is looking good. I know it was slightly higher, but if you look at the figures, I mean, it's looking good. And we're probably going to get some interest rate cuts from the Fed, probably May, if not June, and that's just them printing money. So it's just going to be pandemonium, I think, in the next 3 or 4 months. I think with the halving coming as well, I think I'd be surprised if Bitcoin doesn't touch its all-time high within the next 3 or 4 months. Who knows what that means for the alts, but in terms of Bitcoin, it's looking really good.
Yeah, no kidding. Pretty unbelievable. And yeah, we can come back to that later, but let's get right into it, what everybody's here for. And we're going to talk about the most recent update video. And I got a clip here that I'm going to play, and then we'll jump back in and we'll talk about it.
5 big things to look for in the coming future. Number 1, the release of COTI V2 white paper. It's in the works right now, and I expect to deliver that on March. Number 2, COTI V2 rewards campaign on the treasury, both for native and ERC20 token holders. We've talked about that, and I've talked about that in the recent spaces. So I think you have the general idea behind it. It's a rewarding campaign. I think it's great for everybody. So that is coming too on March. Number 3, GCOTI as an extra reward is also around the corner. It will be on the treasury, of course, and I expect that to happen this February. Number 4, we'll be announcing the ecosystem growth plan to onboard new developers and marketing ambassadors and a lot of folks. This is super interesting, and it relates to DevNet. So I expect that to happen also around March or so, or maybe early April. Number 5, DevNet. So the development network, which is actually the first glimpse and the first opportunity to develop on COTI V2, is planned for Q2. We're working super hard on making it early Q2 and not late Q2. So these are the 5 big things to expect.
All right, fast 5. So let's go over all 5 of them, and we'll start with the first one, which is a big one for me. I think it is for everybody. Everybody wants to know what's in that white paper, whether you have questions about tokenomics or other things. This is going to be a big deal. And so we're promised that for March. So let's go top to bottom here. Same thing. Unity, your thoughts on COTI V2 white paper being, around the corner?
Yeah, it's very exciting. I really can't wait to read more about garbled circuits and how they are gonna work in practice. We've kind of have been putting the puzzle pieces together bit by bit, but I'm most excited about reading the exact details and wrapping my head around it, because it's such a great technology, and I'm really curious how they're going to implement it.
I'm really looking forward to sharing sharing the clips of the videos that you made for this episode, because as Cody Ship and I, we've seen it and we both agree that it was absolutely enlightening. It really opens your eyes as to what the privacy layer of COTI V2, like a really good use case. And it just seeing that proper use case, we'll call it in action, kind of just made other things fit together. So that's coming up really soon. But I'm going to move to Ship and COTI V2 white paper March. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's super exciting. The white paper, I mean, for COTI V1 got me really excited, and there was a lot of maths in there that I think nobody could get their head around, and I don't really anticipate this to be any different. I think the MPC garbled circuits, I mean, if it's anything like how it's presented before, I don't expect many people to wrap their head around it, but I think conceptually it's going to be so good to read through. Like you said, I've seen Unity's videos. I'm starting to understand the use cases and the potential behind this multi-party computation, behind garbled circuits as a layer 2 on Ethereum. And once you start to see that horizon, like it's amazing. So yeah, let's see what the white paper has.
So all of us have talked about the white paper and, you know, what we're looking forward to, what questions we have, but we haven't heard from Paul as to what he's kind of been looking for from the white paper. So I'm curious to hear, Paul, what are your thoughts on the white paper coming out in March?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know it's coming out really soon, round the corner before DevNet. I'm kind of interested in the tokenomics side of things because there's a bit of confusion around that. And also, if you're a big investor looking to invest in COTI, you want to see a current up-to-date white paper. So, I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to, getting the white paper out there. I mean, most of it's going to be quite complex and difficult for most people to understand. But if you're a serious project and you want people to take you seriously, having a published up-to-date white paper is crucial, because you see so many projects with white papers that were completely out of date and not relevant to what they're actually doing now. Having a white paper that's current to what's literally coming around the corner, that's what I'm excited for.
Number 2 for me was the one where I think it was the most vague. I think we know almost nothing about this Treasury Rewards campaign or what he means by that. I know it's about ERC20 compatibility and how you'll be able to connect like with a Web3 wallet like Trust or MetaMask, but we don't know really too much about it. So same thing, top to bottom. Unity, what were your thoughts on that one? And what do you know? Do you have any alpha for us?
Yeah, I can just make an educated guess. So to me, it sounds like kind of an intermediate step towards COTI V2, because as we've heard before, COTI V2 will first of all be interoperable with other wallets such as MetaMask, and there will be a new wallet that will be able to be used globally. So this, to me, sounds like one of the first elements of COTI V2 to be implemented. We'll see. We don't know for a fact, but it sounds like a lot like that.
What about you, Ship? Do you have any secrets you want to share with us? But honestly, like what do you know about this? Have you figured anything out?
I honestly have figured nothing out. But I mean, it is the reminder that they are also building a wallet. I mean, it's classic COTI to build a full tech stack kind of end to end, alongside the kind of the core use case. So I think the wallet's super exciting and it's almost an added benefit, but I don't know anything else. I'm excited to see what happens.
So Paul's handle is he was known as the Oracle for a long time. So maybe the Oracle can tell us what number 2 is all about.
I think I've left my Oracle hat in the house, but I'll give it a go. The rewards campaign, it's probably something to do with the unlocks happening at the end of March. So they probably want to give people the option of having a chance to relock. That's what I think it's about, because there's a lot of tokens that are going to be unlocked. I think it's the 28th of March. That's when they first start to unlock. So I think having like a rewards campaign for onboarding early to get extra V2 tokens is probably something they're going to do. He did mention it wouldn't be a hard lock, which is going to be good. I don't think many would want to hard lock this year in this kind of market.
Yeah, there was definitely some concern in Telegram about the hard lock. So it was nice to see them shut that down, because I know sometimes we don't get answers right away. But I think what you're saying, Paul, is, and for anybody who's in Telegram will know this saying, but this is the carrot is number two the carrot. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes, definitely. That'll be the carrot, and it's fair that they're doing that, because there's going to be so much unlocked. You need to give people an incentive to continue. So I don't see it as a negative, like a lot of people are using the carrot emoji as a negative. I don't see this as a negative. I see it as a positive, really, especially with the ERC20 holds been given a chance, because we've been waiting for that for a while. So I'm quite positive on the potential carrot, especially without a hard lock.
Yeah, and it's one of the most common narratives on the podcast for the past 18 months was when US, when staking, when all of that. So it is nice to see finally some movement on some ERC compatibility, and them talking about removing KYC and slowly getting ready for V2 down the road. But speaking of carrots, this is a good one. The COTI has extra rewards. I know there's a lot of concern right now that the APY is low. When you have that much of the native supply in the treasury, I can see why it's low now. So I think that this COTI has extra rewards is going to balance a lot of that. But same thing, Unity, I'm going to move it to you and your thoughts on this.
I mean, G-code is my second favorite thing after garbled circuits. So finally, we're getting G-code as rewards in the treasury. And I personally, I mean, for me, the APY is not low, as I have a 1-to-1 ratio, and I try to get my hands on as much G-code as possible, as early as possible. So I can only recommend to people, get some G-code. You keep your code in the treasury and get those G-code rewards, those free G-code rewards. Because I think people are still underestimating G-code. There is a hard cap of 1 billion. You get that APY boost. You get to make the governance decision in this upcoming massive ecosystem. So I'm really hyped about finally getting more G-code in the treasury. And concerning the carrot argument, I mean, I see this as in a positive way. So G-COTI, 420 million G-COTI will be distributed over a time of 5 years. So this is an incentive for people to keep their code in the treasury, because those G-COTI that you can only get through rewards right now, apart from the small portions you can get in the community campaigns, will be very handy in the future, in my opinion.
Yeah, good point. What about you, Ship? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, COTI, people forget about COTI. I mean, COTI's as a token have been soaring price-wise, I think from like 6 cents up to as high as 11 cents maybe. But COTI, I think even in the last kind of week, has gone from the mid 3 cents to hitting as high as 5 cents. So I think the utility of the token and the demand for the token kind of speak for itself through that price. To be able to get access to it from staking, COTI in the treasury, which a lot of people are already doing. There's a huge supply of native COTI in the treasury, as you said, Tracer. So this is great. I mean, this is another benefit. It's something that we've been waiting for. And a lot of people are keen to get their hands on COTI. So yeah, look forward to it. And I think, did he say Feb? Was it February that's coming up?
I'm looking at my notes here. So COTI as Treasury APY was this month, and he said that on the recent Twitter space.
Yeah. So literally right around the corner. As Unity said, like a few people have got their hands on it through the community campaigns, but it's not really widely available to the market. So this is gonna create a big influx of tokens in the treasury, and I'm sure the ones that are there will stay.
And yeah, and I just gotta say, like, if you guys haven't seen, and there were some great submissions, don't get me wrong, but if you guys haven't seen COTI Unity's submission for the COTI community campaign, it was excellent. There's a lot of really good ones. A lot of people liked Soren's. I saw that he was here. But anyways, enough about that. So Unity, Ship, and I have talked a lot about COTI, but we haven't heard from Paul. So Paul, COTI has extra rewards, and just COTI in general. Let us know how you feel about it.
Well, if you're in the Viper system, you need G-COTI to get a good APY now. So getting it as extra rewards is going to be kind of crucial for some people to boost their APY. So I'm looking forward to it. I believe it's only the Viper participants that are getting it. So we'll see how that goes. But I am looking forward to getting some. I hope it's like a fair allocation. So you can't get too many people kind of manipulating it, getting high APYs and reducing the base too much. But we'll see how it goes. And in general about G-COTI, I've got mixed feelings about it. It was launched during like the bear market, so it's obviously going to have some teething issues. But I do think it's needed. I just think it needs a little bit more utility. Right now, it only seems to be an APY boost. Yes, I know you can trade it and stuff, but I'd like to see a little bit more utility for it. But I'm sure that's coming with V2, so it's probably going to be a good thing to have G-COTI come in the future.
Yeah, so you were probably happy to hear that recently when they announced that there would be more utility for G-COTI coming with V2. It wouldn't just be because it was always touted as a treasury only governance, and now it's going to be a greater part of the protocol. So I guess you're maybe happy hearing that with that big article back in December.
Yeah, absolutely, more utility. That's the key, and hopefully we'll get a centralized exchange, which will be, because right now it's quite difficult to actually trade it of Uniswap. So yeah, I mean it's still in its early days, of course, but I'm sure it'll pick up.
I can't even imagine what that would be like. The supply, the circulating supply is so small right now. So it would, if they get it on an exchange in the next couple months, I think that would be really exciting. Recently, we learned about the Ecosystem Growth Fund, but yesterday, Shahaf announced the Ecosystem Growth Plan, and that they were going to be talking more about that in March and April. And basically, this is a DevNet incentive to get people building on COTI V2 and playing with the privacy features. And I think from there, we're going to get I know we're getting a demo next week, and I think we'll see even more of that coming when the growth plan is announced and DevNet opens. What did you think about that, Unity?
I mean, I think it's really great that we now have this ecosystem growth fund and ecosystem growth plan. And I think it just shows how much the project has matured. And this is something that you need. You can have the best tech in the world, which is worth nothing if people don't use it. So it's great to see that there are investments being made. I mean, the cooperation with Soda Labs, just amazing. Implementing the garbled circuit technology, also giving incentives for developers to develop on the ecosystem. So this is what a mature project and a project that wants to grow in a big way really has to do.
Your thoughts on the ecosystem growth plan, Ship?
Yeah, this for me is the most exciting thing, I think, amongst all of these updates. Historically, COTI, if I had one, my main criticism of COTI, if I'm being fully transparent, has always been the ability to pull in developers, pull in enterprises, pull in partnerships. And I think this is, if we looked at COTI V1 and the PPN, we couldn't really bring in developers because we were using a different programming language. It wasn't really interoperable. It wasn't permissionless, and we struggled. And if you look at JED, we're waiting on users to kind of bring liquidity in and mint and burn and etc. But there's not really a stimulus behind it. But for the first time, I think we've really nailed it in bringing stimulus to COTI V2. So originally, this was the ecosystem growth plan was, I think, 400 million tokens at the time. I think the price was around 6 cents, which made it a $25 million fund. Of course, now with the price being nearer 10 cents, we're looking at more like a $40 million fund. This is what's going to bring developers onto the platform. This is what's going to, I think, as Shahaf alluded to, this is what's going to create marketing ambassadors. This will bring genuine development, real activity onto the network. And, this is adoption. So absolutely crucial, and by far the thing that I'm most excited for.
Okay, Paul, let's hear it. What do you think?
I think it's been covered quite well. I mean, I totally agree with what's been said. Yeah, we need to get people from outside developing on COTI, and this is the best way to do it. With V1, it was quite difficult. It was kind of like a closed loop ecosystem, and that, I think, what the end kind of put a lot of people off. But with this, and it's a good amount they've allocated for it, and it's only going to go up. You know what I mean? The money's is the way the token price is looking. It's only going to go up, so they should be able to get a few people on board, and that's what's going to drive adoption. That's what's needed. This is why they've done away with COTI V1 basically. So yeah, I'm looking forward for the growth plan.
Yeah, so 4 and 5 are a little bit, we kind of commingled those a little bit, and it makes sense because they're very connected. So let's use this as our last, we'll summarize everything, the DevNet and all these 5. Guys, your thought on this last video, and maybe about the demo next week, but just moving into our next segment, closing thoughts about this video, and I'll go to COTI Unity.
I mean, they're just really releasing one update after another at the moment. It's really great. So I've already said sometimes I miss the days when people were complaining that there are no updates because it was less work for us. So, but it's great to see the progress. Great to see the updates coming and coming. Great to see the information flowing. And I'm really excited about next week seeing the demo, which will be a big thing, I think.
Definitely looking forward to that demo. Over to you, Ship, to summarize this latest video and just everything that's been going on lately. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, this video to me just signals like a serious acceleration and ramp up towards V2. And I think, without speaking specifically to each item, because we've just done that, I think the speed at which we're doing this and the rigor around it shows that this is really well oiled. And as far as the roadmap goes, it is very ambitious, but COTI are going for it, and I've got a lot of respect for it, and I appreciate all the hard work it creates in trying to stay up to date.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Paul, final thoughts on where we're at, this video. I know that anybody who knows Paul in the Telegram, he's always the one who kind of tries to guess when the next video is coming. So we've seen a good frequency on updates. So I'm interested to see how you're feeling about all this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot is happening, and you get the impression that COTI are really pushing things as quickly as they can. So, I mean, to get the DevNet out so soon, well, he said it's going to be early Q2. It's good signs. I think they know they need to kind of push things forward. I think this has been planned. This is not just because we heard about V2 at the end of last year, but I think this is planned for a good while. So yeah, I am excited about the timelines, and I expect them to be delivered. I mean, there has been times when things have been delayed and stuff. I don't see that this time. I get the impression from Shahaf that everything is kind of all the eggs are aligned. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you're right. We got a statement that we read on one of the recent podcasts that said that they have been in development, like actively developing this for over 18 months now. So yeah, I'll agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, because I remember a video. I mean, I think V2 was first mentioned in I think October 22. I mean, so this is not like something they've just kind of came up with. I think they kind of knew that this is the kind of direction they had to go with. So this is not something they've just thought about end of last year and just go with it. I mean, this has been planned out to a T. So the fact that they're getting everything out so far on time, I think bodes well for the roadmap. So that's what excites me about this video, because it seems that whatever they've said that they're going to do in Q1 in regards to V2, they are going to be doing. So yeah, that's what excites me.
All right, so here we get into the meat of this episode and what I'm really, really excited about. And we promised everybody that at the end of this episode, you would come out with the best explanation and understanding of what COTI's privacy layer can accomplish. We've also had a lot of new eyes on COTI lately, so we are going to play. There's a series of 3 clips that we are going to play here. This is a video made by COTI Unity Node. The guy is a force to be reckoned with. But it really opened my eyes and made some other things click as I watched it. So we've clipped it 3 different ways. And I'm going to play the first clip for you guys now. And this is a bit of a summary for anybody who's a little bit new here. And this would be great to refresh if you want like a 3-minute condensed version on what COTI V2 is. So we're going to play this. Meanwhile, guys, if you have questions, send it in the comments and we will review them after each segment. Here we go.
COTI, currency of the internet. In 2024, COTI has started its transition to a privacy-centric Ethereum Layer 2, offering high-speed scalable privacy utilizing the security and liquidity of Ethereum. In this infrastructure upgrade, the best parts of COTI's ecosystem will be migrated to COTI V2. COTI V2 will be permissionless and use Solidity as its programming language, and by that provide easier development for third-party developers. And with a breakthrough in the research on garbled circuits, this cryptographic protocol will be the heart of COTI V2 and offer a privacy solution at least 10 times faster than any existing zero-knowledge proof. COTI V2 offers confidential transactions. It is not a privacy coin. With privacy coins, someone can take an action without being identified. The result is visible, the person is not. This raises concerns as things as money laundering or terrorism are not traceable. This is why some countries have already banned and some exchanges have already delisted privacy coins. With confidential transactions, on the other hand, data is hidden. The person is visible, but the action is not. This is expected to be much more accepted by the market. COTI's garbled circuit technology is also superior to other existing solutions. Through multi-party computation, it is possible to build multi-party apps, such as privacy dexes. As of now, garbled circuits is the only privacy solution that combines low latency and low required computational power, without having to sacrifice one for the other. Because of the low computational requirements, this technology can run on any device. Garbled circuits have no single point of failure, which means there is no error in a single part of the system that can bring the whole system down. Finally, light storage is another advantage of garbled circuits. Garbled circuits are a quite complex cryptographic protocol that nobody has managed to combine with blockchain technology up until now. But in cooperation with Soda Labs, COTI has developed a solution for its privacy-centric Ethereum Layer 2. Let's look at a simplified explanation of garbled circuits. 2 users, Alice and Bob, want to do computation with their secret data without revealing their data to the other person or to anyone else. They encrypt their data through COTI's protocol and now both own a part of a key that is used for unlocking an encrypted smart contract. They both enter their parts of the key into the garbled circuit, which can be imagined as a black box. Now the key starts the computation. Neither the computation nor the input data are visible to anyone. The garbled circuit will now generate an output. This output can either be public or encrypted. And either all parties who input a part of the key or only one of these parties will be able to decrypt the output.
So there we go. So that's clip number 1. We're just getting started here. And I'm going to hand it over to Unity to just see if you wanted to summarize anything there.
Yeah, so this first part basically is an introduction showing what COTI's privacy solution will be. And we will see more details soon. I think it's important to point out that we have nothing out there yet what COTI is developing. So there are, that's a perfect graph we have here now. So there are some privacy solutions, but they all have their disadvantages. And the main thing is that with current privacy solutions on blockchains, you either have low latency, which means high speed, or you have low computational power required. So the problem is, if you want high speed, you need high computational power. And if you want low computational power, you will have low speed. And garbled circuits combine both without the need to sacrifice one for the other. And due to its low computational power required, these garbled circuits can be run on any device. So that's something really big. A privacy solution that is efficient and then that can be implemented in a blockchain. And I think this is really what the market needs and what the market was waiting for. And I'm still convinced that privacy will be one of the big narratives in the next bull market.
All right, so that was clip one. That was just a quick summary. We're just getting warmed up here. Guys, it's a perfect time if you could just repost the space. Let everybody know you're here. Let everybody know you're live. That would be really, really appreciated. And we're going to move to clip number 2 here. And again, guys, if you have comments or questions, just send them in and we will address them in between clips.
The garbled circuit technology is not implemented directly on the EVM, but on a private part of COTI's layer 2. In order to understand how the private part of COTI's multi-party protocol is connected with the public state of the protocol on the EVM, let's look at the following short clip. In this clip we can see a kitchen that can sometimes be found in fancy houses and apartments. There is a public kitchen and a hidden kitchen. Both kitchens have the same functionality, but the secret kitchen may be used if there are guests and you don't want food to be prepared in front of them. Now let's take a deeper look at this analogy. We are already familiar with the public kitchen that stands for public blockchains. You can make transactions, sending different tokens to another user. In this example, you may hand over some tomatoes or onions to a person. Or you can execute a smart contract, which could be a recipe in our example. Now, if you want to use the secret kitchen, the private part of the blockchain, providing confidential transactions and computation, there are some requirements. First of all, you need to wrap your ingredients at a wrapping station so that nobody can see what you are bringing. This stands for the encryption of your input data. Then you hand your wrapped ingredient, your encrypted input data, into the secret kitchen, which is the garbled circuit. However, you and everybody else are not allowed to go into the kitchen. Now your ingredients are processed with a recipe, a smart contract. This recipe may work similar to recipes in the public kitchen, but they can only be used in the secret kitchen. These are so-called pseudo-contracts that are written in the multi-party computation bytecode rather than the EVM bytecode. The final meal, the output, is either handed out on a plate for everybody to be seen, or in a locked box that can be opened by only one or all of the people who handed their ingredients into the kitchen. The final meal is now in the public kitchen and the two states of the blockchain have been merged.
I swear, Unity, you just played into COTI Ship and I. Like, we're big time passionate about cooking. I think Ship is too. We talked about it a little bit, so it is almost like, you know, you're tugging at my heart there. But yeah, if you want to summarize that one, please, for us.
Yeah, so after reading the latest update, I also tried to wrap my hand around it. And I had this little discussion with someone on Telegram. I think they were called Lila or Lila. And they basically gave me the idea with this kitchen analogy. So we haven't heard that before. So there will be the public blockchain on the EVM, which is basically like any blockchain we know so far. We can make simple transactions. We have smart contracts. We have taxes and so on. But then we have this private part, which is not written in the EVM programming language, but in this multi-computation programming language. And we will have the garbled circuits on the private part of the blockchain. And the transactions, the confidential transactions and the confidential computation will be done on the private part of the blockchain. And then the output will be transferred to the public part and stored there. The encrypted input is deleted afterwards, and the two states of the blockchain then have been merged. And so, yeah, that's the basic concept. It sounds a bit complicated at the beginning, but I think the analogy really helps to understand it.
I'm right, Shep, right? You love cooking, don't you?
I enjoy cooking. I prefer it when other people cook for me, but I do enjoy cooking.
I don't know. You sent me some pictures a while ago. You like it, I could tell.
Yeah. We both love a cast iron pan. We know that much. But yeah, I've just got to say, I think Unity, you're the only person I know that can take NPC and privacy and turn it into an analogy with tomatoes and onions. I think you've got a passion for educating people. So big congrats. I think that the next clip is the one that really blows my mind. So stick around. But for this particular clip, for me, I look at this and I think, okay, so person one has tomatoes and they can only make tomato soup. Person two has onions and can only make onion soup. And it's when you put those things together that you have this collaboration and you can get a full recipe out of it. So you put this application in the real world as well. Think of two businesses who have two different data sets or whatever, and they kind of pull those together to generate insights from one another. You start to realize how this works in the real world, and that multi-party bit is absolutely critical. So you're not going to get that with the other privacy solutions.
What did you think about the secret kitchen analogy, Paul?
Major kudos to Unity. That's kind of like amazing, to be honest, how he's kind of compressed it into that. I mean, this is like complicated stuff. There's no doubt about it. This is like high level stuff of intelligence required. So anything that kind of makes it comparable to something you can do in real life, definitely is going to help a lot of people understand, because a lot of people don't, including myself, don't fully understand the full privacy garble circuit sort of things. So having someone explain in kind of layman's terms is going to help everyone. So hopefully a few people get to see this and it'll help them.
Okay, here we go. Without further ado, this is where it all kind of comes together. This is the best explanation and best use case scenario that I've seen for COTI v2. Check this out.
Now let's have a look at how confidential transactions are actually processed on internal nodes. There are 4 parts. First of all, the key shares. These are random strings representing parts of a key that can be put together to create the actual key that gives access to the pseudo contract. Secondly, the pseudo contract encrypted inputs. Remember the wrapping station from the kitchen example. Before even entering the private part of the blockchain, the input data is encrypted. Thirdly, the pseudo contract using Boolean functions in order to do computation with the input data. Finally, there is the output data that can be either public or encrypted, and the decryption may be accessible for all participating users or only some of them. Finally, let's look at a concrete example how this could look in practice. Let's imagine the health minister has ordered research on the pain medication XYZ that is used a lot in hospitals. There have been speculations that this medication could lead to an increased rate of heart attacks. The health minister now orders all hospitals in the country to submit the following data. A. The number of patients who were given XYZ. B. The number of patients who were not given XYZ. C. The number of patients with a heart attack who have been given XYZ. And D. The number of patients with a heart attack who have not been given XYZ. In our example, we will only use 3 hospitals. Alice's Hospital, A, Bob's Hospital, B, and Carol's Hospital, C. And we will label their input data with an uppercase letter for the hospital and a lowercase letter for the type of input. For example, uppercase C, lowercase d. Uppercase C stands for Carol's Hospital and lowercase d stands for patients with a heart attack who have not received the XYZ medication. Using COTI's privacy solution, the hospitals enter their data into the protocol. Their input data is encrypted before being entered into the garbled circuit. As all of the participating hospitals have a part of the key, the execution of the pseudo contract will only start once all hospitals have entered their data and by that have created a complete key. The pseudo contract will now execute the following operations. Adding up the number of patients with the XYZ medication, the result is input E. Adding up the number of patients without the XYZ medication, the result is input F. Adding up the number of heart attacks among XYZ patients, the result is input G. Adding up the number of heart attacks among non-XYZ patients, the result is input H. Dividing the number of XYZ heart attacks, which is input G, by the total number of XYZ patients, which is input E. The result is the heart attack ratio among XYZ patients. The result is input I. Dividing the number of non-XYZ heart attacks, which is input H, by the total number of non-XYZ patients, which is input F. The result is the heart attack ratio among non-XYZ patients. The result is input J. Finally, the contractor checks if the XYZ heart attack ratio, which is input I, is greater than the non-XYZ heart attack ratio, which is input J. The final output will be encrypted and can only be decrypted by the health minister. In this example, COTI's privacy solution helped to uncover whether a certain medication leads to an increased rate of heart attacks.
I'm not kidding. Like the first time I watched that, things started clicking for me. Unity, that was amazing, man. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you. I thought I've been thinking about this example for quite some time. I mean, that's an easy example now, but I think it shows in which dimensions or in which proportions the protocol can actually be used. We've had this simple example now, but just imagine it on a bigger scale. It could be within the European Union, and all countries and all hospitals submit their data about all the medication that patients get into the protocol, and as well as any complications that occur after patients have been given the data. Then the garbled circuit does the computation, and you get a report about any medication that has certain side effects or certain complications that have a statistic relevance. So you can. And what I also have to add is, with garbled circuits, the complexity of the computation doesn't play a role. That's a big difference to other privacy protocols on blockchains. They are often limited in their complexity, but garbled circuits are not. So, for example, and in this example, you see that this can also do great good. Also, for countries that may not have the capacity to do this on a national level with servers and so on, they can use COTI's privacy solution in the health sector, for example. And it's really big. So you can do computation on a big number of data in a secure and fast and private way, and a decentralized way. I've once talked about this data leak we've had in my country that was about the fee we pay for public TV, and all addresses and all bank information of all inhabitants of the country were leaked due to a hack. And this can't happen on a decentralized secure network. So there are so many possibilities. Sorry. And the computation on medical data is just one of many, many, many.
Well, watching your video there, especially the third part, it's when, like I said, it really, things started to click for me. And I, of course, when I was clipping it, I got to watch it a couple more times. And it was that video that allowed me to kind of start thinking of my own use cases that were actually, like, but at first they were so elementary there. It's like, okay, this is like pointless. So I think you opened my eyes to this, and I really appreciate it. And I'm going to pass it off to Ship. You there, Ship? Okay, we'll move to Paul. What did you think about the whole video, but especially the third clip there?
I think Ship's taken aback like me with it. Yeah, it was very impressive. Still very technical, but it's been made a wee bit kind of easier to manage in the brain. So yeah, it's very impressive how Unity kind of compressed that and made it sort of understandable. I'll probably need to watch it a few times to fully understand it, but yeah, it's definitely more kind of relevant to someone that's not very good at maths, for example, than the article we got from COTI from the two doctors or two PhDs, that was really difficult to kind of understand. But the way the videos have been published there, it's definitely, hopefully the community get to see that, because it does explain things quite clear.
I'm just gonna, like, now when updates come out, I'm just gonna wait 4, 5, 6 hours, and then I'm just gonna start texting Unity and have him explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, because I am 5 years old. I did find COTI ship. So your thoughts on clip 3 and just, the whole concept in general?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to watch it back a couple of times to maybe fully wrap your heads around it, because you can't move your brain with the speed of text and speech. But I promise, once you watch that twice and maximum 3 times, you will have a full understanding of how COTI's privacy network is going to work and what it can accomplish. I was the same as you, Tracer. I'm now really starting to understand how a lot of these use cases come to light and how they work. It's very difficult to read a function and kind of read through that and understand how K relates to A and whatnot. But in this example with hospitals, users, and the XYZ medication and heart attacks, to me, it makes total sense. And I would say, just watching that, what an enormous use case this would be in just the healthcare industry, let alone when it's extrapolated across every other industry. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. If it was just used in healthcare, I think it could be monumental. But beyond that, the possibilities are in some ways endless. And thank you, Unity. That's amazing. He's made it. I'm sure you'll follow this guy on X. He's made it an open link on YouTube now, so you guys can share it. This podcast will remain up. It'll go up on Spotify and everything else, so a good place to point to it. But let's move on here. We're getting to the end of the show here. We're just going to go into an open discussion about the other kind of loose ends that we've talked about a little bit here. And one of the things, I guess, recently in that video, Shahaf talked about the garbled circuits demo next week. I'm really interested to see how they're going to show us. I don't really know what he means, but I think that's going to be really nice to see it in action for the first time. And I'm wondering, Unity, do you have, how do you think he's going to convey that to us in a video? Do you think it's going to be a video or a Medium article? What do you think?
I'm not sure. So what maybe we'll see, what I would like to see is an actual computation with a concrete example, because that would be great to see, because I think at the moment it's quite abstract, and I think people don't understand how the Boolean functions work in a concrete example, and that they can generate new inputs and then work with those inputs. So I hope we'll see that some data is entered and that we can then see how the protocol does computation on the data and what the actual output then looks like. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, interesting. What do you think, Ship? How are they going to convey that to us?
I mean, Shahab said a live demo, so I'm not going to hold him to that, but that would be really cool. I think it has to be a video. So yeah, let's see what they've got in store.
Yeah, good point. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a video. Anytime they've done a demonstration in the past, whether like minting a multi-dag, he's always done it on a live video. So I'm assuming it will be a video, maybe with a medium post after it, but I think it'll be a video.
It was that COTI cluster video that Ellie posted. They posted with Ellie that really got me bullish on COTI. So it'll be interesting to see how they deliver this and if it will kind of live up to that height. For me, we have COTI Ship here, so put him on the spot a little bit. But Shahaf hinted at, a lot of people are concerned that since we've moved to an EVM, Ethereum compatible network, that it's as if we're dropping JED and we're dropping our affiliation with Cardano. I know there's a lot of concepts too that think that COTI V1 was on Cardano, so it's kind of a big mess out there. But it is nice to hear Shahaf and even Charles Hodgkinson recently say that they're doubling down on Jed, and it looks like COTI's staying for the long haul. And Shahaf has said that recently. So Ship fields a lot of the Jed commentary in our Discord, as he is a community ambassador. So I just wanted to kind of reach out to you, Ship, and say, what do you know? What are you hearing? And what do you think these big upgrades might be?
Big question. I mean, first off, I've been fielding less of the Jed questions because Unity Node is up at about 6 a.m. answering everything from the night before, which is testament again to how much he does for the community. But with regard to Jed, look, I think when we launched, we captured near 40 million ADA and TVL relatively quickly in a couple of months. We're kind of still sitting at that level. And I think for a few people, they want to see further expansion, if we're being truly honest. There are definitely developments going on in the background. What I would say is Jed has been true to its word and remained pegged to $1 of ADA throughout the entire year through any major blip. And with regard to the update, Shahaf says there is a big update coming. Charles Hoskinson actually employed Mr. W.S. Ford, who I believe is the ex-CEO of Algorand, and I think David Markley as well, to kind of lead the stablecoin run in the Cardano world. And they have been working silently in the background. I actually reached out to Mr. Ford on Twitter a couple of days back, and he said that he's working on big things and hopefully they can reveal those soon. So I'm not going to take a guess at what they could be, but I would imagine some significant upgrades to the current functionality and use cases of Jed, and perhaps something that maybe bootstraps it a little bit as well. Let's wait and see.
I know that one of the things that you guys are saying mostly in Discord is about Shen delegation rewards and stuff. So maybe it has something to do with that. So I'm going to ask COTI Unity Node. From what Ship says, you've been fielding a lot of questions about Jed. So what's the vibe like, and what do you think this next update might be?
I mean, as you've mentioned, and a lot of people are asking for, so maybe we get additional utility for Shen, which would be great because we need more people minting Shen in order to have more growth of Jed. I mean, another big thing, though, I think that's further into the future is the possibility to back Jed with other cryptocurrencies such as wrapped Bitcoin and wrapped Ethereum, wrapped Ether. Probably too early for that. Maybe there will be lower minting and burning fees. That's also something people were asking for. We'll see. I'm not such a big expert on Jed as Ship is, but these are some things that may be in the nearer or further future.
Yeah, so I know like sometimes that I feel like Unity, Ship, and I, we recycle our opinions sometimes over and over. So it is always nice to have a special guests. So Paul, your question's a little bit more broad. How do you feel about Jed to begin with? It's been a little over a year. I know some people poked fun at it saying it's a failure, that they launched it at the wrong time. Why would you do it during the bear market? And I think some people forget what Jed is. So your thoughts on Jed overall?
Well, I'm glad they're still developing it and it's not been forgotten about. It's been quite quiet on the Jed front. I mean, look, it was brought out last year, the start of the year, in an absolute bear market. But so really, we weren't going to really get that much volume. But the fact that we got some volume and it's been tested, it's never lost its peg. It's probably going to be a good thing that it was launched in that time, because I'd imagine this year when things take off, the Cardano community will be using Jed. So yeah, I'm quite bullish on Jed in terms of the volume picking up, and that means potentially more fees for COTI streamlined to the treasury. So yeah, I mean, Cardano are like the top 10 crypto, and a lot of people are dismissive of them, saying, "Oh, we shouldn't be involved with them, get rid of them, this and that." But to be associated with Cardano as their major stablecoin, that's a feather in COTI's cap. So the more that gets pushed and out there, it's only a good thing.
Yeah, good point about the association with Cardano as being, a top 10 major. It's huge. It was funny to me because I came, just to COTI from COTI, basically. And as I started finally, breaking through and talking to some of the other community members, it's like 4 in 5 of you guys came from the Cardano, maybe even higher. It's incredible. Most of you guys came from the Cardano ecosystem. So, to not keep that partnership and collaboration healthy, I think it would be a grave mistake. I got a comment that I want, because since you're warmed up now, Paul, I got a comment here that I want you to take a look at. And don't pay any attention to the coded emojis there, but you haven't been on the show for a while. And the last time you were on the show and we did price predictions, you were the most bullish of anybody. So I think in the last show we did Q1 2025 price prediction. We're at the third stage of the roadmap. I think it was rebirth, not yet evolution. Evolution is around the corner. I'd like to know, and I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your price prediction for that point?
So price prediction for like what, the end of the year or start of 25?
Yeah, so more tied to the roadmap. We're at the rebirth, so that's mainnet, and it's just prior to enhanced mainnet. So COTI V2 is live. We're swapping. Things are happening. What do you think?
Well, I've given my price prediction on Telegram, but that's always the bearish part of me. I'm always going to be like very, very glass half empty sort of thing. End of the year prediction going into kind of rebirth, probably I'd say conservatively 30 to 50 cents. I think that'd be my prediction, but I mean it could be a lot more than that. I don't really see it being much lower, like I was saying, 15 to 20 cents. I can't see it being that low, if I'm being honest. With the general market conditions and stuff and what's being built, yeah, I'd say a conservative estimate, 30 to 50 cents for like the end of the year. Into next year, it's just crystal ball stuff. Hopefully, I mean, I do hope by in some point 25 we will be way past our all-time highs and into a dollar figure plus, but anything past the end of the year is kind of crystal ball stuff.
Well, I know you like to keep score on this kind of stuff. So just so you know, Unity and SHIP, they were pretty united in the around $1 mark. And I liked that. So I'd be cool with a $1 COTI. When we were talking, prior to this episode, there were a couple things that the guys wanted to talk about. One of the things that SHIP wanted to talk about was interoperability. So I'm going to hand it off to you, SHIP. And I think people might be underestimating, we're coming from V1, which was a very proprietary, you couldn't build without the permission of COTI. It was, for lack of a better word, clunky. You needed to learn how to do it. Whereas with the EVM, people know how to code in Solidity. And we talked about things like if they're trying to, deliver on their roadmap, they can pull in developers that'll be, it's not like you have to train somebody on your system. You can just bring them in and, quote unquote, everybody knows Solidity. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on interoperability and how significant that is going to be for us.
Yeah, I think there's no secret as to why I think COTI has struggled in the last few years. Back in 2017, there was the challenges in the blockchain industry were very different to what they are now. Scalability was a real problem. We had that blockchain trilemma around speed and scalability and security, and it made sense to be a proprietary DAG-based layer one that was really a bit of a closed ecosystem. But in modern times, that's not the case. And as long as you're not part of a budding environment like Ethereum, you've lost access to enormous liquidity. You've lost access to all the developers that are building in Solidity, like you say. And the migration across to that arena makes total sense. So going forward now, Ethereum is a budding environment with I think 3,000 decentralized applications, tens of billions in TVL. It's got you get the kind of osmosis effect where users from different tokens and different ecosystems naturally become aware of COTI and start to use COTI, partly because it may be interoperable with other solutions, and it's a different world that we're going into. And yeah, you are supercharging this in comparison to what it was. So yeah, I've never ever been so bullish on anything as I am on COTI V2. Having, as you say, just untapped developers, having untapped liquidity, having this use case and privacy that I think will spearhead the bull run. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to watch it, and I'm still holding on to that dollar prediction.
Yeah. COTI V2 for me, when I could finally understand it, I saw Ethereum, and like a lot of people did this, and like, I hate that, right? But I mean, when I look at NFTs, it's like, well, there is one chain to rule them all, right? To me, the real NFT, other story. I think that people are still underestimating that. I think that moving to Ethereum and the solidity thing, it's just, I can't even put it into words, and that's kind of why I'm struggling to say this right now. But it made me feel like I was not prepared, like I didn't have enough in COTI. Whereas 6 months ago, I felt like I was comfortable with my bag, and now I've been rebalancing, and hopefully this price action continues. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna take advantage. COTI Unity, your thoughts on interoperability?
Yeah, I mean, interoperability is important for a modern blockchain. And one thought I had, as COTI will be on the Ethereum virtual machine, and hopefully Cardano will improve and work on the interoperability with the EVM. My hope really is for the future that COTI will be connected to the Cardano chain, which, I mean, there is this partnership. A lot of us have come from Cardano. And so I think the chances are higher than ever with the EVM that we finally get that. So that's one thought I had. And yeah.
So one thing I've asked everybody who's come on the show, and of course I haven't had a chance to ask Paul yet, we talk about roadmap and ask what's the most exciting. Oh, there he is. Is he back? He's back. I don't know if you can hear me now, Paul, but I was just going to ask you, we've asked everybody else what they're most excited about for the roadmap, this current roadmap, and what part do you think is the most exciting? So just, as we wrap up the episode here, we're a little bit over an hour, just your thoughts on the roadmap and what you're most excited for.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had to go down this route. They had to. When I first heard about V2, I was like, oh, what's going on here? They're getting rid of their gem. They're getting rid of the DAG. You know what I mean? But when you look at it and think about it logically, 5 or 6 years ago, yes, that'd have been great. But now everyone's developing on Ethereum using Solidity, so they had to do this. This was their only real option. So going forward to what I'm looking forward to, I'm just looking forward to the roadmap being the timeline being met, just and other developers getting on COTI with the foundation growing. Hopefully it's going to be a budding kind of ecosystem. Right now we've got Soda Labs, and that's probably it. Right now I'm hoping by the end of the year there's going to be 6 or 7 good names that are in there developing on COTI, and just turning into like a big kind of ecosystem on its own sort of thing. That's what I'm looking forward to, because we've been like a closed loop ecosystem for too long now, and that's probably held COTI back, to be honest. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. And I'm looking forward to the PPN, which I think will happen probably Q3, Q4. I think they're probably waiting for V2 to be fully launched rather than just kind of half launching it now in V1 then migrating to V2. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. But this was definitely the right choice for COTI, rather than kind of trying to slug it out and being a layer 1, which would have been really, really difficult in kind of 2024 with where blockchain technology is going.
Yeah, I think that the COTI team really realizes that there's no excuses now for not making your roadmap, because one of the things that they've been preaching is the fact that it's on Solidity and everybody else knows how to develop on it. Well, if everybody else knows how to develop on it, you better know how to develop on it. And I think that the goal is to try to deliver on time and maybe even early. I'll be honest, and I've said this before, back in 2021, before multi-dag 2.0, our roadmaps like 2019, 2020, 2021, everything was on time. It was, I used to post constantly that they were notoriously punctual with their roadmaps. And there was a 2-year gap there where things just kind of, got dropped at the wayside. And we could, we've talked about, is it personnel? Is that person a scapegoat? Is it, they try to do too much with how things were built in the first part. And we've had some guests that have talked about that when we talk about bridge and stuff. So, and there's one thing, I mean, we're all looking forward to when we don't have a bridge anymore, and then everything is going to be, all one token. But as we close this episode down, I'm going to go to Ship. And do you have any closing thoughts? Do you have anything you wanted to say before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, there is 2 quick things that come to mind, which I think, Paul, you mentioned, just being really excited to see people develop on COTI, and something to spring to mind. I think Shahaf, I can't remember which video it was a while back, but he mentioned with this ecosystem growth fund, it will incentivize developers to come on and build things anew on COTI, but also they've had conversations with existing applications around, would you want to do what you do with privacy? And the answer is yes. So I would not shy away from other projects kind of migrating and leveraging the privacy technology that COTI offers. So it won't necessarily be just new. It could well be, some things that we already know. So I think that's really exciting. The other second piece that I was thinking about when thinking around this ecosystem growth fund is just how big this is. Like, I know the price action reflected it a little bit on the news, but based on current prices, this growth fund is now $40 million. I think Solana's growth fund was like 100 million. And you think that's a $44 billion ish, market cap coin. So, relative market cap to growth fund, this is serious bootstrapping. So there are 2 things I wanted to leave people on. But yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you, COTI Ship. And I'll move one final time to COTI Unity. Again, man, thank you for your videos today. They were super enlightening. Just to wrap it up, you have any last thoughts for us?
Yeah, I can only add to what Ship said. It's exciting times ahead, and it will be great to see how this all turns out with COTI moving to the EVM. And it just popped into my head that there are so many projects, as Ship said, that could just make use of the privacy feature. So just imagine just Uniswap adding private trading on COTI, the massive volume that is coming in, the massive liquidity, and then different privacy apps with those endless possibilities. So there are some really exciting months ahead of us, and I can't wait what we can talk about in the future updates, future podcasts.
Right on. Thank you, Unity. One question here that we don't have any recent information on, but this was brought up in the past couple months, and Shahaf addressed that there were no plans to change any multipliers in the near future. So I hope that answers your question. And I have to thank COTI Unity Node and COTI Ship for always being here. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Of course, I'm going to be reaching out to you guys right away and asking if you guys want to do it again in 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll be back in 2 weeks at 7 p.m. UTC on Wednesday. Stay tuned, though. We'll try to figure that out. Paul, thank you for being here. It was nice to hear your voice again. And, you're not the bad dog anymore. So come back anytime. And
pleasure.
Thanks, man. And we'll see you next time, hopefully in 2 weeks. So this is the Who is COTI podcast from coast to coast and around the world, signing off. Take care, everyone. And as always, stay COTI. You have been listening to to the Who is COTI podcast. Please follow myself at WhoisTracer on X for this week's episode information. Stay COTI.